Welcome to Dan ARG YouTube. Asue Ighodalo dey for America. E dey for Houston. Dey talk to Edo people about the election wey wan happen for Edo State. Make I leave you, make you hear from Asue Ighodalo.
wasting much time. Our prisoner is going to take a seat. Okay, Bayama say Watomia, Watomia. A round of applause for him, please. A round of applause. A round of applause. You can do better. You can do better. You can do better. Thank you very much. Thank you. We're proud of you. Thank you. Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, without wasting much of your time, we are starting proper. And before we start, we want to start with the opening prayer. And permit me to invite to the microphone Pastor Raymond, J. Diaspora. Please come and give us the open prayer.
Good evening, everybody. Please, can we rise up? Let's give honor to God and pray. Father, we thank you for your grace that has found us. And we thank you, Father, for today. This is the day you have made. And we are glad, Father, for the grace that brought each and every one of us here today. Thank you for the journey mercies you granted each and every one. We say, may your name alone be glorified in the name of Jesus. We commit to this program before you, Heavenly Father. We ask that you glorify yourself in it. Have your way and let your name be glorified. Anything that is not of God, we rebuke it. And we ask that your name will be glorified. In Jesus' name we pray.
Amen. And I'll say, Amen. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for coming. And we are very proud to have you here tonight. Asue for governor.
Ogie for deputy.
Asue for governor.
Ogie for deputy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. A round of applause for yourself, please. A round of applause. A round of applause for yourself. And this evening, I'm not the master of ceremony. My assignment this evening is very easy. I will be introducing the master of ceremony. And the master of ceremony tonight is not that person, that Mr. Victor Mamodiani. Round of applause for the MC, Mr. Victor Mamodiani.
All right, thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, that's okay. I know I'm in the midst of Nigerians. We have to do this 3 times. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. We are in the presence of greatness. The next governor of Edo State. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. So I can't hear you. Let me say it again. We are in the presence. We have in our midst the next governor, the anointed governor. Next one of Edo State, the greatest state in the world. The heartbeat of that means that without Edo State, Nigeria will collapse. The heartbeat of Nigeria, and right now amidst we have the next governor of Edo State. Ladies and gentlemen, how we do it tonight? Nepa.
Yes, sir.
Our hair.
What's someone like?
All right, how we doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen? I want to say a big welcome to everyone, all the great sons and daughters of Edo State, our brothers from other parts of the country, our siblings from other parts of the country, and our friends from America, all over the world. We want to say a big welcome to you all. Those of us that would, watch this next time on TV, we want to say a big welcome to all of you. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, we are here to listen to a great son, an illustrious son of the soil. Listen, let me just give you a little history of this man, Dr. Asue. When I heard he was coming, I decided to do a little research. I said, let me see what's happening. Who is this person everybody's talking about? So I read about him. And lo and behold, ladies and gentlemen, this man transcends parties. It's not about PDP or APC or Labour Party. This man transcends parties. APC members will vote for him. Labour Party members will vote for him. You know why? Because he is the right man for the job. Please a round of applause for Dr. Asue. The right man for the job. That's what that matters. Gone are those days when we elect people that are not right for the job. But when you see Dr. Asue, you know that this man was destined to serve. And if you look at his life, if you follow the journey, you will realize that he has committed himself to service. Ladies and gentlemen, we have the best man for the job in the house. A round of applause for the great Dr. Asue. Without wasting much of our time, I would like to first of all call to the microphone Barrister Bright, just to help us with the opening remarks. Please let's put our hands together to celebrate this great man from Edo State, Dr. Barrister Bright Usipo, just for his opening remarks, so that way we can just get more into the evening. Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everybody. Please, before the opening remark, we need to sing the national anthem, please. National anthem. Please, if I say Asue for governor, I want the heavens to hear. Asue for governor!
Ogie for deputy!
That's better, we can do better than that. Asue for governor!
Ogie for deputy!
Good. I really want to take this time to appreciate everyone. I know this is midweek, this is a working day. I'm glad what I'm seeing. Estonians, up Estonians! Yes. Give a shout to yourself! On behalf of the planning committee and the Houston of the people of Houston, Texas, I really want to appreciate and welcome our principal, Dr. Barrister Asue, his wife, the deputy governor in waiting, and the entire team to Houston, the Lone Star State. Give it up for Houston! Ighodalo Art. It's a privilege to have you. And so, on behalf of Vichy and the entire historians, I really want to welcome you, sir, to the Lone Star State once again. For the audience, a lot is going on in Nigeria right now, and our principal is aware of the influence of the diasporans in shaping the political landscape in Nigeria. That's why he's here today to talk to you about his manifesto. And at the end of the manifesto, you have opportunity to ask questions. Our principal is not shy. He's not shy of the media. Ask your question. All we just want is for you to conduct yourself in a peaceful manner. Again, I really want to appreciate your coming. We are glad to have you here. We thank you for your time. Thank you once again, and God bless. Any other person will not go vote. If you not be PDP, you not go vote. Any other party will not go vote.
All right, thank you so much, Barrister Bright Usifo, for the amazing welcome. And we also want to extend that welcome to everyone present here tonight. Those of us that came all the way from outside of Texas. If you flew in from outside of Texas, we want to say a big welcome to you. Our brothers and sisters that came all the way from Nigeria just for this, we also want to say a big welcome to you all. And we pray that your journey back home will be smooth and easy in Jesus' name. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is a great night. We have in our midst, just as Barrister Bright said, an anointed person. They say that seeing is believing, but I want to believe that believing is also seeing. Sometimes you have to believe to see it. So, sir, I know it doesn't like people doing this, but I want to begin to sow my seed forward by referring to Dr. Asue as His Excellency. Hello. Now, the reason why I'm saying this is that I studied. They say if you want to be great, follow the path of those that have walked, and they are great already. I just decided to do a little deep dive into the history of this great man. And if you just look at his journey, all you will see is excellence. From his early life, he went to King's College in Lagos. Went to King's College in Lagos. Graduated. Went to University of Ighodalo, and is an alumni of London School of Law. Went to Nigerian Bar School. This man has the antecedents of a great man. And that's why we are here, ladies and gentlemen, tonight to honor and to also listen. So please, if you have any questions, begin to note them down, begin to write them down. Just as Barrister Bright said, our principal is not shy. He would answer any questions that we might have. Ladies and gentlemen, next up, we will be having a few refreshments that will be given to everyone present here tonight. So please, just sit down and relax. I will be leaving you shortly, and in the hands of Cool DJ, he will be giving us just good sound while we make arrangements for the refreshments.
What are we doing next? What, the next one? Is introduction. Okay, so DDG. Call DDG now. Okay.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, while that is being prepared for us, we'll be moving straight because we are running behind schedule and we want to meet up. I will be introducing to you DDG, Pastor Raymond, to help us with the introduction of our wonderful principal. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Without wasting time, this set time is now, and I want everyone to please join us and join me as we welcome to the podium. We don't want to waste time. We want Mr. Ighodalo to give us that which has brought him to Houston to tell us about the manifesto. Ladies and gentlemen, join me as I bring to the podium our incoming governor, Ighodalo. Mr. Asue Ighodalo.
Let me start by saying I'm fully overwhelmed. There's like coming home, I'm seeing faces here. It's like I could be anywhere in Benin or Lagos or anywhere. And so what everybody else is doing, Osarodion and I were just saying that when we get back into Benin, we have to get, everybody wanted to stay and sleep one more day after this, So we just told ourselves we have to cancel that one, we can't sleep, we have to just go back and continue the campaign. Both of us have gone through the 192 wards nearly twice. Many of you have, I'm sure you've been seeing what's going on in Benin and all that, and some people are just starting. We've done this thing twice. So we say, well, we have to go and do it for that. Sometimes and she just keeps praying, because we hardly sleep more than 3 or 4 hours. There are 2 guys here, for instance, that I used to sleep like 4 times a week. I don't think I've seen them for nearly a year, my 2 Jams brothers, we all used to play golf. I thought there can never be a time in my life I won't play golf 3 times a week. I haven't touched a golf. Osarodion dragged me to the golf course once, in the last 7 months. Apart from that, I don't think I've played any serious golf in 9 months. It's really an abomination. That's what I'm saying. But that's how we've taken this. But that's an aside. But I'm really overwhelmed. What you guys have said, like I said, is that you guys must win, and not just win, that you must run the first-class government promised us, and show that we in Nigeria can run a country or a sub-national much even better than the first world. So that is our pledge, and that's what I'm going to start to say. And I think after I've said that, I can sit down, usually, But I think I have to sing for my own supper. I also thank so many people that I see here that have kind of crossed the pond to come here. And I know many, even within America, sometimes you can be having 6-5 hours, I'm really grateful. I'm overwhelmed, I'm grateful. I don't know, but thank you. But then, I have started getting used to the protocol thing, so I think I'll still run through the protocols. I'm not a protocol person, so I'm commissioner for ICT, probably our youngest commissioner for all this contest. This is Sungo, who is the political advisor to our governor. Madam, thank you for coming. And I hear that when the Houston City Council member, Ms. Tiffany Thomas here, representing District F. And I thank all my great brothers and sisters who are here. But please permit me, I saw some 2 gentlemen, my James brothers, both of you and your wives. Thank you so much for coming. That was the part of my life. I was their boss for 4 or 5 years. That was part of my life. And you guys practically prepared me for what it is I'm doing now. My brother Austin Aburu, former MD Seplat, MD this, MD that. Thank you so much. Eugene Osime, Pa Ojo. Pa, can you just wave your hand?
Hello.
Thank you. Pa Ojo is one of our most loyal, disciplined, efficient, and strict politicians. He tells you as it is. When you mess up, he tells you straight away. All right, Ward 7 leader, thank you so much for coming, sir. Truly grateful. Antika Okoka, Mrs. Egogun. I'll just keep going on and I won't stop. But I have to thank everybody. But before I go into my presentation, there have been, I think, 7 or 8 great men and women who made this happen. And I must say thank you. I've said thank you.
Speak to me.
I mean thank you, but I must say thank you. Right to C4.
Talk to me now. I'm hearing you. I'm hearing you. Talk to me about it.
Obehi, stand up, This Obehi, he runs a whole local government from Houston. A whole local government in the state. Obehi, are you married? That's Cyril's brother. James, that's Cyril's brother. Roland, Mrs. Amu, and Mr. Madasmu, I thank you guys so much. Without you, this probably wouldn't have happened. And as I continue thanking, there are some people on this table that I have to refer to. My family, my family, my older sister, Tulu. And then okay, who's there? Okay, my junior brother, Ogie, Joe has become my junior brother. Joe, just see you. Joe has followed me every step of the way from day one, from 3rd October. My other brother that I've known for 63 years, Pastor Ighodalo. Okay. I don't know now who I introduce first, either my wife or my partner. And I think it's going to cause small problem. But okay, before I go there, Eugene, thank you for coming, my brother. Okay, my partner, please let me introduce you first for my wife. I'm sorry. Yeah? This is my wife. You know, my wife is my wife. So my partner, Osarodion, okay? He's going to be the next deputy governor of Ogie State. And then my wife. Right. She was taking the brunt of the last 10 months, you know. And I don't know how she's coped, you know. And most times I'm moody. Because this is not my world. You know, just let me I wake up most mornings and I say, what am I doing here? And she's one that challenges me. And my wake up time is 1:35. Because politicians don't sleep, you know. Osarodion and I don't know whether we sleep more than 2 hours because we keep exchanging WhatsApp, we keep phoning, we look at what happened the day before, we look at what's going to happen the next day, what we need to do and the things we're saying. I don't know how my wife has coped because those who know her well, like Carol and Julia, they know she's flies on 12 hours sleep. 12 hours sleep. And so this is someone that flies on 12 hours sleep who now sleeps like 4 hours or 3 hours. You know, so even if it's just the sleep deprivation alone, you know, but she's the one that when I'm sober, when I'm at my lowest, and many times I've been sober on this journey. Many times I've asked myself, what am I doing here? But I think it's a God ordained for me. I really thank you very much. Thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. So, why are we here? Sorry, myself. Why are we here? And why are we taking you guys out of your comfort zone this evening? Why are we taking you out of, you know, many of you just left work and come straight here. You should go home, there are many other things you can be doing, dinner with the family and all that. But you've chosen to spend time with us. So I'm going to try to be quick. The last presentation I made, my brother and Joe said it was too long. My friend cut it down. So I'm going to try and be quick, and I'm going to try and focus. But why are we here? For me, it's one sentence. One sentence. To show that we can run a first world sovereign, a first world government, a first world economy, where no man or woman is oppressed, and where we're moving socially and economically the way anybody interested is moving. They were coming from the airport, and one of the guys in the class said, you know, the infrastructure here, and I laughed. And I said, you know, Nigeria has earned money since 1956, and the oil men in this room know that. Nigeria has earned enough money since 1956 to have paid at 70 dollars. But we still have in Nigeria where people have that for water or food. I met a woman in Chimamanda, and she told me she eats on Tuesday, she can't eat against the Thursday. I don't think anybody in this room can really identify with that very quickly. And she said because her kids, you know, have to eat. They all have to eat. So she and her husband devised a way that if one of them eats on Tuesday, the next one is on Wednesday. You know, they just calculated it. And there are many like that. You know, my experience in the last 10 months has made me even understand our country so much better. Our people are resilient and strong. I don't think there's any other country in the world where the people will go through that level of suffering and lack of love from leadership and still survive. You know, the Arab Spring, the price of wheat moved up by 5% or something, and people went crazy. Most places in the world, if the price of anything moves up by 10%, people go crazy. In Nigeria, the price of things move up by 100%, and the woman smiles as she puts food on the table for her husband. How they manage it, I don't know. They have a methodology now where people don't use tomatoes to cook anymore. They use cucumber and carrots and they put one pepper, so it's red. So, this is nothing else. My last 10 months that showed me that we must do something about Nigeria. But the problem with Nigeria is that we probably need to start from the state. Because people like this disconnected, when they are top and they're not connected to the people. And so that's the story we want to tell. Osarodion and I want to create a festival in those states, which hopefully will, by peer pressure, pull the rest of the states in Nigeria or the states that surround us, and hopefully pull the rest of Nigeria up. But you can create a sub-sovereign within a sovereign that's much better than the sovereign. And so we'll start by that. Many people say, Nigeria will limit you, and I said, it's happened before, it's happened in Australia, it's happened in India. Even Singapore was part of Malaysia when Singapore became on its journey to be the first world country. So we'll do it in Nigeria, by God's grace. So we'll do it. So do I have like a remote phone in this slide, please? Oh, okay, that's it. Thank you. So many people know the Edos, and with the Edos, we span from when you just cross through Ore. I know some of my friends here used to abuse me that once you cross Ore, all Igbos. Yeah, maybe. So once you just cross Ore, move into Ofusu, you've entered Edo, and you go all the way to just near Abo. One side, the other side. Pastor again about the right of the Ogie. And we the Edos, we're proud people. We're hardworking people. We're loyal people. We saw education and civilization way beyond any other part of Nigeria. Even people in the 13th don't understand it. But in the 12th century, in the 13th century, we built cities. Benin City, if you look at the name before all of the environmental problems that have arisen over time, Benin is a Greek city, you can't lose your way. It's a real Greek city. And then we had streetlights, way beyond, even before the whites had streetlights, because we made streetlights from our kernels and oil. And not just that, people talk about the Chinese wall, but we had the moat, Benin moat. The Benin moat truly was a technological fit in the age when there was no technology. So we are great people and proud people. So what happened to us? How did we allow ourselves to be kind of pulled down by some others? I know the 1897 expedition was part of it because we lost a bit of our mojo having gone through that experience. But I think we should have kind of revived, and we the Edos must revive Nigeria. It's clear to us. And I like to do this just to give us an idea of the kind of people we are. And there are greater men and women that have come out of Edo, but I just use this as a representative sample. There's two letters to come to me now. What was the first person that went to motion for Nigeria? He wasn't yet said to anything like that, And he's been described as Nigeria in the history of Nigeria, Africa actually. And many people know Shai Poppy, introduced by my daughter to me. Because Siemens doesn't follow football. First of all, I in Nigeria, and many of those kids, Rima, the musician, he's playing in Detroit this weekend, and he's training in Benin in 2 weeks. They have my own choir, I have a sentimental attachment to Nigeria, and you can well, his sons, his daughters, friends. One of those who remember First Tax 77, it's crazy, First Tax 77, thorough, creative. And I use I here, representative of nature of us who know he represented just to show even the achievements of those of us from this generation, and many of you know French Victor, many of you also know Victor. When Victor started painting, you could buy Victor's painting for 5 naira or something. Today you can't talk to Victor. You need an appointment for Victor, for you to talk to Victor and buy painting. So I remember who works in the White House, Then I ran into a father one day and he was telling me that I was at the White House. She was one of the first civil appointees by President Biden. So he worked with a world-class engineer. And this work was anywhere in the world. And Camaro, many of you don't know Camaro, but a lot of people don't like that sport, kickboxing. He's the champion of kickboxing. So, in spite of the greatness potential of us and those, even Nigerians, we still have this lag. It's still this problem. We've been 61 years independent now. Since 1951, when we started talking about the first conference for Nigeria, 1951, that's 73 odd years. We don't seem to have moved very far. Between 1955 and 1961, and then for a short time between 2004 and 2006, those have been the greatest times of our lives in Nigeria, that we've grown at consistently at above 8%. And that's when we show sparks of being a great country. And then in a normal way, something happens and we just plummet right down again. And we all
Let's share the link.
So, let me just give you an insight of Nigeria today. The country is so blessed with so much intellectual resources, human resources, mineral resources, capacity for agriculture. Many of you in these rooms, first-class brains, first in class. You're first in class, but the guys that are behind you, 5th, 6th, 10th class, run a first world country. You guys that are first in class can't run a first world country. For me, contradiction in terms. And I don't know how you guys survive it, how we survive it. We're smarter than these guys, better than them in class, do better than them, but they can run the first world country and we can't. So that's why we have in Nigeria today, where food inflation, they say is 40%, but I know food inflation within Nigeria is probably 100%. Our wives that go to the market will tell you, if they go to the market with 100,000 naira today and go back next week with 100,000 naira, they're only able to buy half what they bought today, and that's true. Those who go, I had a friend who says he must eat 2 pieces of meat. The wife started laughing at him, so she took 1 piece of meat and cut it into 3. I said, you say you must eat 2 pieces of meat, you're not giving me money for 2 pieces of meat again. You know? So, inflation rate is 6.2%, that can't be true. National growth statistics say so, it can't be true. If you live in Nigeria, inflation rate is 100%. You know, poverty rate, 72%, possibly. But we're the poverty capital of the world, we're taking over from India. So, exchange rate, there are a few of us in this room that I remember is going to the bank with 500 naira and took $1,000 out of the bank. I can see a few of us, So, and I remember I still had that my old passport when I went to Union Bank, I and I bought $1,000, $987 precisely, with 500 naira. Today the exchange rate is about $1 to 1,600, and it changes, it fluctuates. And if we're not careful, this may hit 2,000 in the next few months with the way things are going. Nigeria has 18.3 million children out of school. Proportionally, it is the worst in the world. 18.3 million in 2024. And mothers still die in Nigeria. When girls go and have kids in Nigeria, we are praying. Because 30% of the infant of the maternal deaths at birth, for every 10, 3 are Nigerians. That's a big shame in 2024. With the kind of medical mind you produced in Nigeria. And the kind of hospitals we had in Nigeria before. There was a time in Nigeria where the king of Saudi used to come to UCH and recommend country. There was a time. It seems such a... Nobody would believe that kind of story today anyway. And then infant mortality, we still have maybe 56% of our kids dying at young age, below 5. And out of 180 countries in the world, we're ranked 145 corruption index. So this is not good. For a country of brilliant people, brilliant minds, great minds, it is not good. For a country with the resources we have, it is not good. So we in Edo State feel that if the rest of Nigeria doesn't want to wake up and work and move forward, it's time we in Edo State change the narrative. It's time we in Edo State move Edo State above all of this, way above, and hopefully the rest of Nigeria. In the last 8 years, when this government first came in 2016, the total revenue, internally generated revenue on the state was 24 billion. I see people in this room, 24 billion is changed to them, And so that's what the state earned. That has moved up to nearly 80 billion in 2024 figures. I just took the figures at the end of 2022 to 65 billion. So that's about nearly 300-400% rise. So that means the capacity to increase our revenue generation is there. But if you break this down, this comes down to about 16 billion a month, thereabouts. Now, if you pay salaries, pension, teachers, and all of that, you have about 8 billion left. 8 billion doesn't do very much. You know, I was laughing with Joe earlier on, and I said, you know, this thing that we're laughing about is a serious matter. Counties in America have a bigger budget than Nigeria. Counties. Just counties in America have a bigger budget and a more efficient budget than Nigeria. And so I don't want to imagine, this is a school budget this is our Edo State, it's probably a school budget in America. I know many schools are much richer than Edo State. But in the last 8 years, things have moved up, things have improved tremendously. The public service has been transformed. I suspect Edo State has the best public service in Nigeria today. Probably a school called the Where our civil servants are trained in first world administrative mechanics. Not just that, Edo State is truly digitalized. That means that it's paperless. That makes it more efficient, and that makes it more transparent. Nobody uses paper in Edo State anymore. If you're not computer literate and fast, and that's part of the way they work, then you can't work in Edo State. And one other thing, you know, you can apply to work in the Edo State government without knowing anybody. Nobody believes it. But if you get a true one, first of all, in Edo State, all Edo indigenes who get a first class in university get automatic employment in the civil service. Automatic. That's one. Second of all, if you get another good like the two, you can apply. You apply, you know, through the computer, and that's it. You know, if you qualify, then you get a letter like anywhere else that come for an interview, and that's it. People didn't believe it. A few people tried it and they saw it work. So that means that the efficiency level, and you remove corruption in the employment system, so you're probably going to get a bit more efficient, or much more efficient. And there's no way you can run a good government if you don't have an efficient civil service. Politicians and leaders can think any policy, but the civil servants must implement it. For many of us again that were around in 75, 76, the government of that day decimated the civil service, and we haven't recovered from it. And so that's part of the problem. So anybody today that wants to run a good government must have a good civil service. And then things have also changed in education. 8 years ago, Edo State was one of the worst schools for education, one of the worst states for education. It was known as Miracle Land, where people went to do exams and performed all kind of magic to pass those exams, But, thankfully today that has changed. Edo State, I think, is second only to Anambra in education. I think that's fantastic. And the Manifesto program has been run where teachers have been trained to be more efficient, curriculum change. People are taught with tabs. The kids' curriculum is now like first world curriculum, and that's at the primary school level, and it's being moved into the secondary school level. The only problem now is that we must improve on physical infrastructure. Some of the classrooms are old and dilapidated, and the rooms, but I think there's hope in this area because we need to find that capital to deal with infrastructure, and I'll talk about that as I go along. But the minds of the kids is now different. They've proved, they're doing first world thinking, first world education, and that's really good. And what that should means also is that when we then attract different kinds of business levels into the state, we would have the capacity and we would have people that can work in those businesses because they would have gone through school properly, school would have gone through them, and we're taking them through university and vocational institutions. And there's so many vocational institutions that are now coming up in the state, so making us and creating fit and proper people who work in businesses that we will attract into the state. And over the last 8 years also, a lot of business has been attracted into the state. I was talking at Edo, because without for this conversation, and I was having this conversation with one of my opponents, and he was saying zero investment are coming to the state. Come on, I can on my fingers and my toes count businesses I know that are coming to Edo State. And I know that in the last 8 years, Edo State has attracted at least $5 billion worth of investment. Some include the Oshama Power Plant, the oil palm program where we had about $1.4 billion investment in oil palm. Nigeria more palm in the world before, and then we lost it all to crude oil. But palm is even more expensive than crude oil today. And the world requires oil palm more than crude oil in certain parts. And we're now moving Nigeria back to number 2 in the world. And I think that's a great thing that's happened in Edo State. We have 3 ethanol plants, 2 already functional. The third one, which is going to be probably the biggest ethanol plant in West Africa, is nearly functional. We have a modular refinery, 1 complete, 1 working, and a second now being constructed. And then the Benin port, and I'll talk about that later, because that changes the dynamics in Edo State. If you can complete that project with Benin port, it changes the dynamics totally. It's going to bring in at least $10 billion into our economy, so I want to talk about it separate. In the last 8 years also, this government has laid about 2,000 kilometers of fiber optic cable. So in Edo State, in nearly every part of Edo State, you can sit down there and you can get in touch with any part of the world. And it has helped us also with telemedicine. But we'll come to that. And it's also helping us with education. So we can have people teaching us from any part of the world. And we're going to use that in our government a lot. And when I was talking about digitalization, it's reduce the cost of governance. How do you reduce the cost of governance? That's why Edo State could pay 70,000 minimum wage when other states were still quibbling and the federal government hadn't made up its mind what they could afford and what they couldn't afford. Because we have been very effective and efficient with the use of our resources. And we're very quickly able to say, yes, we can afford to do this when other people couldn't. And then we've created a strong enabling environment. So the capability for Edo State to what we use in local parlance, we call it to hammer. We are ready to hammer, you know. So how are we going to drive this, being able to hammer, really? How are we going to drive it? One of the things that I know has been the problem in Nigeria is that we've had leadership that hasn't really loved the people. Because if leadership had really loved the people, the level of leakage, let me call it corruption, let me call it the level of leakage in Nigeria would not be. It's not just that people kind of help themselves to our money. They take that money out. Which means that there's a leakage in our economy. They take a substantial portion of that money out. And so our economy shrinks. And the sad part is that that money gets lost out. Because many of those people have taken that money out, and men who don't want anybody, even their wives, to know they have this money. So nobody else knows the money is there. So when they pass on, the money passes on to other countries in the world. And so we lose that massive leakage. And so Nigeria's economy has shrunk, Nigeria's people have shrunk, and we're in poverty. So what we are going to do in Edo State by God's grace is that we can't, with the capability and the resources we have, still be where we are. And we won't stay where we are. We see that path of creating a first world Edo State, and that's where we're focused on going to. But before I talk about it, I need to make a commitment to you guys here that live here. Edolites and friends of Edo, or Edo citizens, Edo men and Edo children and friends of Edo. You know, I need to make a commitment to you. I need to tell you that we, Osarodion and I, promise to run a first-class government, transparently, effectively, working very hard. We will do everything within our power, so help us God, to create a first world Edo State. What we need from you guys is that we need plenty of help. And I'll tell you, it's not difficult help. I'll talk about it a bit more later on. If you guys can come home twice a year, and each time you come home, spend $2,000. And come to, when I say home, come to Benin, don't stop in Lagos. What we will do is that we will work hard to create a secure Edo State. I know many of you are not They're worried and afraid that, you know, you get someone for your character that want to kidnap you or something. You know. So part of what we are focused on doing and we will achieve is to achieve a secure Edo State. So you guys can come home. You know, many of you help at home, but you help, you know, if your folks are still alive, you send in all $100. If John, your brother is still in university, you send in another $100. But you don't send him money to build houses or to invest in businesses anymore. So the first thing, you know, even if Osarodion and I just sleep, and you guys come home twice a year, you know, the economy will change. Because each time you come home, we have $20 billion remittances into Nigeria every year. More than half of that is Edo. originated and it flows into Edo. And that's the one that's captured through the proper banking system. Many of you say, oh, why they go house, I beg, let me give somebody this money. That's not captured. So we probably have maybe 30 billion in real terms and half coming into Edo. And the value of property and the value of things in Benin and around Benin show that our economy has the capability to be strong, but it can be stronger. So we will make Edo safe, but we need you guys to come home at least twice a year, please. And spend at least $2,000 a time to come home. Changes the face of our economy. And next time when you're coming, please bring a friend. When you bring a friend, that also changes. They will come and spend their own $2,000, even $1,000. That changes the face. Even without thinking, without working. And then we'll come and talk about tourism a bit too as we move along. So our promise to you is that we'll make Edo safe. Please come. Come on holiday, come and invest, and come and spend small money. I know the problem is the value of the exchange rate, so we need to do something about hedging the exchange rate. And the state doesn't have control over the exchange rate. But we're thinking that through, so we hedge your investments. For instance, on the Nigerian Stock Exchange today, the two strongest companies that give consistent returns without blinking. If you look at what happened last year in 2023, nearly every company came back with a major loss last year because of exchange rate devaluation, because of that currency change. There was a disaster, and we didn't see anybody consequentially being punished for one of the worst economic policies Nigeria has ever gone through. But what we are clear about is that we'll create that environment, we'll create the kind of businesses that attract you. And I talked about the oil palm. We have Prespa and Okumu, the two best performing companies on the Nigerian Stock Exchange, because they are oil palm companies and then they started rubber production. Luckily for us, rubber is that the world has now gone back to proper rubber instead of synthetic rubber. So rubber has become a major foreign exchange earner, and palm oil. We don't produce enough palm oil for exports because the demand within the country is so high. So that's why in Edo State, there's a palm program that's ongoing. And if that palm program continues at the rate it's going, in the next 2 years we'll be exporting so much palm in Edo State. I think those who will be in the business will have foreign exchange coming out of their ears. So we expect you guys to come back home to invest. Because if you guys come home to invest, then you attract other people to invest. If you guys don't come home, then people will be reluctant, other people will be reluctant, and we need other people's money. We don't have enough capital to build the level of infrastructure we need. So today, it's clear that we must use some of your money, having come home to invest, and we must attract so much more other sources of capital. And there's so much capital all over the world, and we will attract this capital. So I'm going to be talking to you about our 5 pillars very quickly. I talk about security, the well-being of the Edo citizen. We're going to talk about our economy in Edo State, and we're going to talk about governance, the pledge I pledged to you, the promise I made that we will run the government of Edo State well, we will be transparent, we will be accessible, and then we'll very quickly talk about the environment. Because we need to live in a world for our kids, and we need to have created an Edo State without damaging the environment. So, security. For me, security is the number one thing. If we don't get security right, then we're not going to get much else right. If Edo State is not secure, I know you guys will not come home on holiday, period. You may get as far as Lagos and then send for your family to go and do things in Lagos. But you won't come to Benin, you will not, or you won't come to Benin. If you come to Benin, you fly in the morning and fly out in the afternoon. That's not what I want. I want you to be Benin for 2 weeks. And you move around the States, with your old friends, your alumni, you spend $5 you worked hard for here. That's fundamental, So for us, security is number one. And we work hard to make sure that security people at order will form the foundation of our prosperity in the state. We have a security trust fund, so we enhance that fund because we need a lot of money, a lot for security. The state so far has done quite a bit of work. The security, we have the situation room in Benin where you can see people of Benin practically. And cars coming in and going out, but we need to replicate this all over the state. We have 3 senatorial districts that are large. We have the south, that's the Benin area. We have have the Edo Central, the Eastern area, and we have Edo North, Onwa, Akoko Edo, and Isaka. And so we need to be able to replicate security through the state. That's going to cost a lot of money, so we need to find that money. We need to support our security forces, the police, the DSS, even our local vigilantes. We need to support them, and we need to buy equipment which is state-of-the-art equipment. You know, I keep wondering, and I'm sure many of you here sitting down here keep wondering, that you hear that somebody got kidnapped, or 20 girls or 50 girls, that nobody knows where they are. You know, in this day and age, where some people sit in their own rooms and press a button and they know what's happening all over the world. So how come people do things and we can't find where they are? People get lost in the forest near Uganda, and we can't find them. You know, so we really need to be state of the art. We need to be first world. And that costs a lot of money. And so we will have to find the money to ensure we create a secure state, buy equipment that's top of the range equipment, adopt to technology. And then also, there's the other part of security, which truly is that there must be consequential enforcement and consequential sanctions. Part of the problem in Nigeria is that many people do bad things and wrong things and they never get punished. So they keep doing bad things and wrong things. So we need to look at the other side of it, which is the law and order part. And what we will definitely do is enhance and strengthen our Ministry of Justice. Our Director of Public Prosecution Department, we must enhance that department. Get in a few more bright lawyers, get them working there, enhance them, equip them and train them, so that we can prosecute people that do wrong. And people that do wrong don't get away with it. Until we start punishing those who do wrong, people will continue doing wrong and benefiting from doing wrong. So we work hard on security. The 5 entry points into the state will secure. The state itself will secure. Because I truly need you guys to come on holiday. I truly need people to come into Edo State and to feel safe, for their investments to be safe, for them themselves to be safe. You know, our night economy, which is probably 1/4 of the economy of Edo State, is sometimes dying, because people are a bit worried about stepping out after 8 o'clock. It's picked up a bit in the last few years, but it can be much better, particularly in the areas that are suburban and rural areas. So we must get the security right. We must. And so that's our first focus, our main focus to start with. We work on our security, and we work also within the community to make sure that everybody is happy about what's happening to our security. The next thing is, we're running simultaneously. But you know, the experiences we've had, Ogie probably has had it longer than I have, because he's been in public service longer than much longer than I have. But I've been shocked to my bone marrow by the level of poverty in our country. And you know, many of you in this room can only imagine it. You don't touch and feel it. I was in Ogie about a month ago to go and commiserate with the people in the area. And get this, one market, Jatu market, in one day, within 5 minutes, 4 huge trees fell on the market, 4 huge trees. And a number of people were killed, many people were injured. As if that wasn't bad enough, you know. When I went to visit, many of them couldn't even afford to go into hospital. Those that had been taken to hospital had checked themselves out. And you saw them at home, you know, they just put 2 sticks and tied rope on their leg trying to set their own bone by themselves, you know. So if people are so poor, they can't even go into a hospital that's a public hospital, and all it requires for them to be able to buy some medicine, then we really are in serious trouble. So we have to look at the well-being of our people, the poverty level, the pain level, our education, our health. So we're going to focus on how we can immediately alleviate hardship. In the rural area, the best thing is change agricultural profile. And I'll talk about that when we talk about the economy. We must bring money into the rural areas. How do we bring money into the rural areas? How do we make the rural areas functional? So we have to devise ways that move around mechanized agriculture. Because the poverty level in the rural areas is really bad, and we have to deal with it very quickly. So possibly what we will do in the immediate short term maybe the first month or two, is what we call conditional cash transfer. It doesn't help to raise the economic profile, but it helps to reduce immediate poverty for the most poor and the most vulnerable. So we will identify, there are 2 registers in Edo State that identifies the poorest of the poor. So we probably will rework those registers, double check that people are still alive and things, and then distribute some money to help alleviate the suffering of the poorest of the poor. And the suffering level is high because inflation is high. Food inflation particularly. People, apart from everything else, cannot go into the farms because people are afraid of being kidnapped when they go into the farms. So people only farm near their houses. They don't go away into the farms that are far away. So production levels have dropped significantly. So we will try and do that as an immediate thing to help. We'll also look at the healthcare system. This government has worked very hard on primary healthcare. It promised that it have primary healthcare centers in each of the 192 wards in the state. I think they've done nearly 80 now. So we will have to complete that process. So we can have effective primary healthcare centers in every ward in the state. But then that's one thing. What about the secondary healthcare system and the tertiary healthcare system for more difficult ailments? So we have to deal with all of that, and all of this requires significant capital. But if you go back into the primary healthcare regime, we find also that our doctors and nurses, our healthcare workers don't want to stay, particularly in the rural areas. Because life in the rural areas can be difficult. No light, no water, no this, no that. So how do we keep good talent, doctors and nurses in the rural areas together? So we've been thinking about that. So we probably have to give them some tax holiday, tax rebate. We probably have to promise them that if they stay in the rural areas for 7 years, government will build houses for them at low mortgages. We must promise them something to make it attractive for young men and women to be able to stay in the rural areas to work. Because it's very difficult. And it applies in the health sector and in the education sector. And so we need to find the capital to build in the rural areas. We need to find the capital to build first-class hospitals and encourage people to stay to work in those hospitals. And it's difficult. It's not easy. We need to find doctors. You know, you've decided that they're not staying in what we call jackpot. You know, I was talking to a group of nurses in the School of Nursing, and by the way, you know, it's part of the infrastructural development in the state in the last 8 years. First-class School of Nursing, First-class School of Agriculture. We developed, equipped, and brought teachers from all over the world, particularly in the School of Agriculture and the School of Nursing. But I digress. I was talking to some students in the School of Nursing, and I said, after we talked for a while, how many of you will stay to work after you graduate? All hands down. Okay, how many of you will jackpot? All hands up. You know, so I said, who's going to help us here? And they said, I don't know, but they're gone. And they started doing exams. The School of Nursing has become so good that they're taking the exams before they write their final exams there. And many of them are passed and are thinking of coming over here into America and into Canada. So we have a problem because we're competing in the world for the best talents. We're competing with the world for our doctors, for our teachers, for our nurses, for our tech workers. So we have a major problem. We have this drain. And Edo State is suffering a significant portion of this drain. So we have to see how we're going to stem this tide. And it's going to be really difficult. Because how will you tell somebody not to come and live in Houston and to stay in Sabongida or somewhere? You know, it's difficult to compare Houston and Sabongida, very difficult to compare. So how are we going to make it possible for people to want to stay? I know it's sweet, but you come to Houston, right? Yeah, I hear you. You know, I've been over Edo State twice, so I can tell you. Or should you go to, would you prefer Dallas or New York to Igara? You know, I don't know. How many people would rather live in Igara than Dallas or New York? So, okay. So, we have to do things to make sure that our people stay. But let me tell you guys something. And I don't want to scare you, but let me tell you something. You guys have to help us. I don't have a choice. I'll tell you why. It's not that your kids don't love you. Your kids really love you. But you're all going to end up in old people's homes if you don't help us. All of you. I don't know what I live in Nigeria. We don't end up in old people's homes because our nephews, our nieces, our children will be with us. and they'll help us. And for you guys here, I think your kids don't love you, but after a while they love people's homes. So it's important for you to help us have a first class at those states so that you guys can come back when you're tired. Period. For me, it's in your own best interest to help me build at those states. So you end up being, so you work here until you're 60, 65, even 70 when you're strong, and at 70 you come back home. And you will, if we created that first world at those states, you know, you just transfer the standard of living here home. And you live a better quality life. Because you have people to help work with you, you have a driver, you have family around you. Sometimes when you look at the distances in America, you know, we're in Atlanta yesterday, we were going to Senator's house. It took us 1 hour 15 minutes from one place to the other. You must really love somebody to travel 1 hour 15 minutes to go and see them pretty often. So your distance is here, you know, and you guys sometimes get cocoon and, you know, you only talk to yourselves on the phone. You know, I can just drive to Osarodion's house. Sometimes I can go to his house, I can go backwards and forwards 5 times a day. You guys don't have that luxury here. So there's some good things on our own side. So you guys, you have to help us leverage the good things and create an environment where you can also feel safe. And then you can live 2 worlds. You know, spend 6 months here, 6 months there. That's ideal. I'm not asking for too much, you know. Am I? No. Okay. And so we also will create an environment where we can create 500,000 jobs annually. And that also will help with security. Because if our kids can find work, then we don't find devil's work for idle hands. And part of the problems we've had in the state, particularly cultism and insecurity, has come up because kids come out of school and then no work. Although there's some support for being entrepreneurial, what about those who want to work, not start their own businesses immediately? We'll provide, improve our educational system. I think the state has done quite well with the primary, but the secondary, and then we have 2 universities in the states that we must work hard to make sure that they are pushed up to being part of one or probably the best institutions, tertiary institutions in the country, if not in Africa. Ambrose Ali has kind of dropped a bit, and the Edo State University, you know, we need to strengthen those 2 institutions and probably create a few more. Foundation stone for the Polytechnic, for mineral sciences, we just laid in having a bullet the other day. And so we need to bring up a lot more tertiary institutions so as to increase the capacity within the state. So that when you guys come to invest, you find people to employ. And we're going to focus on youth empowerment. I think yesterday, day before yesterday was International Youth Day, and we're going to be focused on our youth empowerment in the state. We're going to make them more digitally strong. We're going to support them financially to set up their own businesses. Edo State has probably the largest concentration of creatives and tech-savvy young people. And we must take advantage, we must take good advantage of it. We can create an environment where they're working from anywhere in Edo State and they're probably providing their service to you guys out here in Houston or New York or anywhere else, you know. But we must create that kind of environment in Edo State, and we will. Many people kind of used to tease us that we have the greatest Yahoo boys from Edo State. That's not true. The difference between being a great intellectual, technological mind and Yahoo is just a very thin line. You know, and once we give our children values and let them know that they'll make so much more money from walking on the straight and narrow, I'm sure they'll do that. So we must make our people feel good and secure, healthy, go to good schools. You know, we must make our people know that the benefit of having a social system that works well is strong. You know, what is the work of government? The work of government is to make sure that your people are safe and secure and prosperous, live well, have good education, have good health facilities. So we will find the money to improve all of this infrastructure. It's fundamental to the well-being and the health of our state. And it's fundamental that we in Edo State, in moving to becoming the first world state, get this right. So we must make our people happy and move away from being part of the poverty capital of the world. We must create an Edo State that's one of the best places to live in the world. So help us God. Economic growth. I said something a few minutes ago that just getting you guys to come into Edo State twice a year, just coming on holiday, changes the dynamics of our economy. We probably will add to the 15-16 billion income, revenue income. We probably may add another 3 or 4. Because our calculation is that if Edo State is not earning 100 billion a month, most of the things we seek to achieve we won't achieve. And so we must start thinking very quickly, how can we make Edo State achieve 100 billion a month? If this government, the present government, moved from about 2.6 billion to where it is today, about 14, 15 billion, then there's hope that with great hard work and creative thinking, we can double, triple, and move Edo State. You know, it's like people wanting to eat this small cupcake and everybody rushing to eat cupcake. That's not what we're about. What we want to do is build a big, big cake, big pie, and that's what we will do. So, first thing, we must increase our culture. We must look at our agriculture. We must go through what I call the soil audit. What's best planted where in Edo State? And then look for how to increase productive capacity in agricultural planting. We must move into mechanized agriculture. So if you are in Edo State, you are up in the south, that's the palm belt, the rubber belt. The central, maize, rice, cassava. Up north, cashew. And then apart from the agricultural capabilities, we haven't even tried and tested our minerals resource capabilities. Up north in Edo State, we have lithium, we have limestone, we have gold, we have feldspar. We haven't even done anything about all of those mineral resources because there's still a lot of quibbling going on about federal and non-federal. But if we resolve that and we start working and mining those, I don't want to imagine the kind of concentration of capital that will come into that part of Edo State and into Edo State. Much more than oil. So we need to work on our mining and we need to balance. If we make Edo State very safe, because of the culture that we have, our Oba, you know, and all the other cultural carnivals we have around the state, I don't see any reason why we can't earn $1 billion. Especially when you guys have many friends here that you bring back home on holiday, particularly November, December period, when there are all those festivals. So we can build on tourism. Tourism derived from culture, and a lot of money from it. So that's why I kept saying that security is fundamental and important. We'll support our small businesses. We must find capital for small businesses. It's the small businesses that grow to become big businesses and enhance and develop the economy of every part of the world, China, Singapore, India. So we must also do that, you know. And we have great technological capacity. Many of our kids, they're great with computers, they're great with digital. They're thinking, you know, and if it was a time we had time, I'd have asked them, we talk a bit more about technology in the state and capability for technology in the state. And the state has created hubs, creative hubs, where we're encouraging our youth to be more technologically savvy, to look at the creative parts. It's in Edo State that we have the best creatives. I'll just show you Rima, Charlie Poppy, and kids, you know, have this big creative mind. And so we must enhance and support it. And I can imagine the kind of returns they'll bring into our economy, supporting creatives, new movies, music, the arts, and then technology. So we must create an Edo State that will create jobs. We must create an Edo State that's the first world state in the art of creating jobs and attracting investments into the state. Like I said, in the last 8 years, about $5.6 billion has come into Edo State. And I see it. You know, it's not the one people talk about. Next time any of you are home, please go to Ighodalo area. You know, you're going towards Sapele. And I tell Osarodion, and I'm a bit upset with him, because it seems as if they have given undue advantage to his own local government area, local and all that. But he then explained to me that no, the gas pipeline passes through that area. So industries that want to come into the area, they kind of align with the gas pipeline because they can then get power much cheaper than in most places. So if you go into the Olobo area, that is one community in that area. We have all these companies, the refineries, the power plants, the Chinese village, you know, and the economy and the people in that area have learned to welcome investment and third-party investors. So if we can replicate, one of the things we will do is that we have 3 senatorial districts in Edo State. In each senatorial district, we'll create what we call Economic Development Agency. What that agency will do is confirm, identify the comparative advantage of each senatorial district in the state, and then we will work on that comparative advantage and make sure that comparative advantage is taken full advantage of. So any part of Edo State, for instance, in the north now, the minerals, the mining, and the cashew nuts, comparative advantage. In the south, palm, rubber, mill in Edo Central, cassava, rice. So we will take due advantage of it, and we will earn as much as we can, and we ensure that businesses and manufacturing thrive. Our economic plan and thinking is kind of centered around 3 pillars itself. We'll have what we call the production economy. I've talked about that one: agricultural, agro-industrial, mining-based. We leverage our gas resources. And then what we call the enterprise park, and that's where you create something like an economic free zone, where you can support businesses in an area where you provided all of the business infrastructure. We've already started that in Edo State, the present government, and we will continue and work at it and make sure it functions effectively. And then I talked about the talent economy, our creatives, our sportsmen and women. Afuse, for those of you who know Afuse was where every sportsman in Africa came to train 30 years ago. I went to Afuse the other day and I worked. You know, the place is derelict. You know, it's like the way of many other things in Nigeria, you know, not maintained, nothing happens there. There's a plan to turn it to a sports university. I don't know when we get, but what I know is that we must revive our physics and we must ensure that we go back to a lot of our glory days. And then I've talked about the visitor economy. Before I run from economic growth, there are 2 things I want to talk about. I want to talk very quickly about this. Whilst we were, I'll come back to the report. I want to talk about this first. Whilst we were campaigning, I thought I knew the state a bit. Then I went to a place called Ilushi, which is actually in my local government. And Ilushi, from there, we can get power from there. We can move goods up the river from there. And so it dawned on me that we can create a totally holistic and different blue economy. And we hadn't really thought about that in Edo State before. We hadn't taken advantage of it, and we will take advantage of it. And then let me talk about what I know will be the major game changer for Edo State, the port, the Benin port. Right now, the Benin port has gone very far. All of the approvals have been obtained. Everything has been done. We've selected the construction company, Mortar Angel. It's a Portuguese company. But what we need now is, and what everybody's doing, moving around now, is find capital. We must find capital. We must find money to build this port. If we build this port, you know, and I can do a breakdown, there'll be at least a $10 billion investment in the economy of the state. And what that means is that our economic growth will be heightened by nearly double. So that 100 billion revenue from taxes, from indirect and direct functionalities of that port would be quite easily achievable. And if we weren't running out of time, I've broken that down for you, but clearly the Benin port will ensure that we bring goods into the Benin area, and then we can transfer those goods from the Benin port into the south-south, into the southeast, into the north-central areas, and into the north. And the transshipment from Apapa or Tin Can will then make it easy for us to create that economy, a bonding economy. We have a trailer park, we have an industrial park, we have a manufacturing park around. And those of you who have had time to go and see the effect of the Lekki port, the effect of the Lekki port in Lagos, and that has not even achieved its full potential, will understand what can happen to us if we get this Benin port right. One other thing before I leave is this issue of power in the state. We have 3 plants. We have Oshomo, we have Azura, and we have Kwale just outside Edo State. But the problem we have with power in Edo State is the transmission grid, which is 70-something years old, and it requires a lot of money to get right. and the distribution and transforming system. But what we can do is take power to the people. So we probably will build multiple mini grids in the senatorial districts, and we'll also think about solar, because that's also important. Solar, particularly in the rural areas. But we must get power to the people, because if we don't get power to the people, cost of production stays high. Not just that, the different levels of the economy, particularly the night economy, and production generally will be low. Let me quickly go to good governance. But before, let me say one thing. Many people have asked me this question. You want to talk about infrastructure, you want to build roads, you want to do power, you want to do water. Because in those states, we have a big water problem in those states. And when we did the maths the last time, we found out that we would at least require nearly 70 billion naira to provide water, particularly in Edo Central and Edo North. When we did the arithmetic. We have water works, we have water systems, but they're non-functional, they're not functioning. The reticulation hasn't been done. It's like as if we're back in the Stone Ages. Everybody has their own borehole, everybody has their own generating plant. We are all singular local governments to ourselves, and all of this must change. And people keep asking, where are we going to find the money to do this? When people see you coming on holiday and we go to the donor agencies, we go to the development institutions and say, we need money and we're going to use it for this. And they know we're going to use it for that. And they know they're going to get their money back. We'll find the capital. I've spent the whole of my life finding capital for private sector entities. So I don't think it will be that much more difficult for me to find finance for Edo State. The only problem will be people must trust us. They must know that we are running a government that's transparent and effective, and that what we say we'll use money for is what we'll use money for. And so that brings me to the good governance thing. Edo State has probably the best paid workforce. Not that it's great, but it's got the best paid workforce in Nigeria. And Edo State is the only state in Nigeria. If you are in Nigeria, you would appreciate this. Sitting down here is difficult to appreciate. It's the only state in Nigeria where on the 26th of every month, every public worker gets their pay. If you run through Nigeria, you see that many states owe workers' salaries. It hasn't happened in Edo State in 8 years. And it's the only state where pensioners don't go through the mediation of queuing up and paying. Pensioners get their money when and the time of 26th of every month. And they've cleared the backlog of many 30 years of non-payment of pension. So it's not if you look at it critically, it's something that we all take for granted in a normal environment. In Nigeria, you see people who are accused of having made away with 20, 30, 40 billion, and they haven't paid salaries for 2 years and things like that. And that's why I said Nigerians are resilient. How did the public servants survive without their salary for 2 years? What did they do? So I don't know what they did, I don't know how they survived. So we will run a first-class government in Edo State. We will be accountable to all you, our people. We will continue paying reasonably good wages, and we'll see how we can improve the wage payment. The most important thing, and I want to say 2 things about good governance. You have to listen. You have to listen to what your people say to you. And as leadership, you have to make sure that you have your head screwed on right and you don't get carried away with the noise, the maddening noise of the marketplace. Because it's easy for you to get carried away and start to listen and not do the right things. So you need to have around you family strong, a good wife, friends strong. If you on the street and now make sure you don't get everybody is looking for something or the other, it's too high. So you really need to have around you someone like my old friend that was sitting down there who I've known since he was born. Those ones won't call you excellency and you have to accept it, And so your feet must stay, planted to the ground. So we'll run an accountable government. We'll provide an audited account. We'll have information when people ask. Even if you don't ask, we give. So that people know how we spend their money, taxpayers' money, what we do. And we must create value. So that for 1 kilometer of road, you see that it's 1 kilometer of road, properly built. These days, for different reasons, our roads are not as well built as they used to be. years ago. So we need to come back to quality services. For those of you in the diaspora, we have a diaspora commission, but we have to look at how that thing is going to work efficiently, so that we're able to communicate efficiently, work together. We need you much more than you need us. We need you guys. We really need you guys. So we really know what everybody's doing, where you're working. I'm hoping that many of you will come back home with what you've learned. Maybe when you get a bit older and you are retired, then you come and teach some of our young ones. And we can teach by, teaching. We can have you guys teaching at universities from where you sit in Houston here. Technology will help us. And you can physically come back home, particularly the people who are doctors or teachers or engineers. You build such tremendous experience, you have such knowledge, many of you are the best in the world in what you do. So just come back home. And even now, give us 2 weeks of your holiday. They will invite you to come and talk in our institutions and you will teach our people. But we need to build that level and quality of service and capability and capacity so that we can move faster towards becoming the first world country. And so I need you guys, and that's part of why I'm here, to convince you guys that the dynamics of governance is going to change in the state. So we need you guys to come back home. And we're going to run this transparent government and we'll spend your money wisely. Finally, we must create an environment where our kids and our kids can live well after we've all done what we're doing and we've gone the way everybody goes. We'll plant 500,000 trees at least every year. The carbon dioxide in the environment has appreciated, so our plants are not held in good plants. Even human beings are not held in good because the oxygen itself is not pure oxygen anymore. There's too much pollution and dilution in the environment. So we must protect our future. And across our mangroves, because mangroves are where the environmental degradation are worst, and we have major mangrove lines, so we have to go back to mangrove rebuilding initiative. We'll do a lot of mini green microgrids. The flaring of gas around Edo State, we really need to sit down with the federal government and the NPC and those guys and do something about it. For a country that doesn't provide or produce electricity to flare gas, I think it's criminal. You waste gas in the atmosphere, pollute the atmosphere, kill the rest of us, and then you can't even provide power for your people. So we will do a lot of work in ensuring that we keep our environment the way the Lord God created it. We have a lot of forest reserves and parks in Edo State, and we'll maintain them. We'll employ park rangers to keep security around the parks, to reduce, the cutting of our trees. The logging in Edo State. Edo State is the capital of logging in Nigeria, but we plant as many as we cut, or even much more than we cut. We have to do that. And sometimes, you see these loggers, they have a system. You'll think there's a big forest here. Once you just move like 200 yards into the forest, the whole place is empty. So they leave the outer forest and they clear the whole of the inside. So we must replant and we must work at this, And one other thing, as part of this environmental thing, I discovered one day I was driving to Benin just after the street lights had come up, and I saw that Benin was dirty. And I didn't know, growing up, I didn't know Benin to be dirty. Benin was one of the cleanest places. And when I looked down, anytime I'm traveling around the state, Auchi is probably the cleanest part of the state. So we must make Edo clean. I mean clean, Uromi clean, Nakoma clean, Adenibode clean, Gara clean. We must have a clean environment. We must find a way to turn waste to power. And that's part of what we need to think about. How do we grow our power? How do we turn waste to power? How do we get rid of the waste that we have? We're going to work at all of these things. We're going to bring in the best minds, the best people. That's why we keep talking to you guys. Those of you that have expertise in all of these areas, we'd like you to come back home and work with us. We'd like to create that first world state as quickly as possible. It's doable, it's been done before. and we have the mental and intellectual capacity to do it. You guys come into this space and you don't be best at what you do. Can you just transmute some of that best at what you do here back to us in Nigeria? You know, they say that you Nigerians in America are #1 immigrant population, #1. When I first heard that, I said, probably true. The Chinese, the Indians, but I double and triple checked, and it's true. So the immigrants, the Nigerian immigrants are the #1 immigrant successful population, and Nigeria is one of the worst third world countries. True, it's a true contradiction. Don't clap. It's sad. Because you guys have come here and you're the best. And we're a third world country there with so much poverty. So we need you guys to transmit some of that back home. And we promise you security, we promise you good governance, we promise you happiness in the state. There's going to be a lot of hard work. The most important thing is that we need to try and finance. We probably pay diaspora bonds so that you guys will bring some of your money so that we can invest it in strict infrastructure. And we'll probably invest it in roads, water, and light primarily. That's what we'll do. But we'll find the money, because Osarodion and I will keep thinking every day. We'll find the money to build the infrastructure we need to build the state. You know, if you're driving through this in here, we see the level of infrastructure, and driving through this and everywhere else. Why can't you? No, I was everywhere I couldn't pay attention to the infrastructure in those places. You see the roads. You know, part of the sad story about Nigeria is that our roads are designed the same way your roads are designed here. You know, sometimes people say Nigeria there's flooding. I was looking at how we avoid flooding externally here, and I saw that you create all these vents where the water can flow through and there's no flood. And it's properly designed. Our roads in Nigeria are designed like the roads here. You know what the problem is? From design to construction, something happens. So maybe the design means the road will cost $1 billion or something. So somebody will say, okay, we'll take the $1 billion and then they give the contractor $300 million. And they say, deliver the road. So contractor 2 will say, okay, so let's remove the deflooding vents, let's remove this, let's remove that, let's reduce the asphalt to half. And so we have third world roads. Because somebody has taken 700 million and left the contractor with 300 million. And that contractor trying to make profit will then give you 100 million naira road. Because he will take his own 200 million. And so a road that should be 1 billion is now built for 100 million. So what do we expect? And so we need to change that. And that's why I say we have leadership that don't love people. You know, you parents here, your kids cry. You know, you ask them why they're crying, why to resolve why they're crying. We Nigerians are crying, but those who are living don't care. So they're not asking us why we're crying. And they don't really care anyway why we're crying. One other thing before I sit, and I think I keep saying this in Nigeria, you know, we have to go back to the value system. When I was growing up, everybody was my mother. You know, I see people here that I grew up with. If I went to their house and I was troublesome, the mother in the house would beat me. And I would beg her not to let my parents beat me. Because when I get home, my parents don't beat me. So you grow up with strong values. Even to today, I still ask myself sometimes when I want to do something, what will my parents say? My parents are long dead. But I ask myself that question. When I think in my mind that they won't like it, and I still do it, I know there's the possibility of what we call consequence management. That I'm the one that I put myself at risk. So we need to go back to making sure our kids are brought up with strong values so that they come up good citizens of the state. More importantly, our schools also must go back to helping the home to develop the kids. So part of what we probably will do is give back some of the schools to the institutions that owned them before, where the schools have the capacity to maintain those schools at a certain level. So we'll look at that, and some of the, particularly the Anglican community and the Catholics asking for the schools back. So if we have the capability and the finances to run the schools, we'll give them the schools back, and we'll set regulatory standards. I thank you guys and girls for listening to me. I thank you for coming here today. I'm sorry I took so much of your time, but I need to ask for one more thing, particularly those of you who are adults and those of you who have friends in Edo and have family. We have a month, less than a month, well, okay, no, a month, about 5 to 6 days election in Edo State. And this election is critically important for us in Edo State. It's probably the difference between light and darkness, good and bad, competence. And you know, we've tried to run, and Osarodion and I have really strictly run what we've called an issues-based campaign. We've not talked about people, we've talked about what we want to do for the state, what we will do, how we will move the state from where it is, the things we will be doing to move the state from where it is to where it should be. And we've avoided talking about people. Listening to some of the other parties when they're campaigning, I counted, somebody was speaking, he spoke for 15 minutes or 20 minutes, and he mentioned my name 24 times. I counted 24 times. I don't mention anybody's name. I talk about the things I'm talking about here, what we need to do. And I'm going to stay focused on that. You know, it's really tempting for you not to feel annoyed I want to mention names because you know many things. You know, for instance, somebody said I was unelectable. I wonder how somebody can say I'm unelectable. You know, and I checked the guy out that said I was unelectable. He was a tailor. And I wonder how the tailor can tell a lawyer it's unelectable. You know, so those are the kind of things that we hear all the time. You know, and it's really, you must pray hard. And you must be strong-willed for you not to want to respond in kind. You know, many of them didn't even go to primary school. They didn't go. And they then talk about forgery and see the things they piled up in forgery for them to suspect and suggest they went to school. They didn't go to school. But that's why Nigeria is where it is. You know, we have this thing about choosing our worst. I don't know whether we like inflicting punishment on ourselves. Yeah, I don't know why, you know, we just, when it comes to election time, we start thinking about different things. I know what we think about, you know, and again, the poverty level, sometimes you can't blame our guys. If you bring 20,000 naira, somebody, honestly, who hasn't eaten for 3 days will take a 20,000 naira. You know, what we're asking is that take the 20,000 naira, but still vote properly. Think about your children and your children's children. And that's why Nigeria has been getting it wrong. Because, you know, our worst are the ones we vote to come and govern us. And we all expect to have a good country. I don't know, you know, we like contradictions in Nigeria. You know, we come here, we're talking about quality people, they're choosing between quality. In Nigeria, you know, we don't think about quality. Where is he from? Okay, he's my townsman. You know, we think about the wrong things. And I think so in Edo State now, on the 21st of September, let's try and think about the right things. Look at the quality of the people you have. And I keep telling people that when you look at the quality, if you think you see quality better than Osarodion and myself, see, it's not a problem. But please, we must choose quality so that the state can move quickly to the next level. Because, you know, you have three leading parties. You have 3 leading parties, and only one party has come with a manifesto. Only one party is talking about what they will do for the state. Only one party is talking about how they will move the state. The others are talking about people who are their opponents and abusing the people instead of talking about what to do. There's a problem. People should be able to tell what they want to do for us, to move us from where we are to where we are. So please, when you talk to your folks back home, please try and encourage them to make up their minds by deciding between good and bad, by deciding between darkness and light, by deciding between a good future for all of us, including our kids unborn, and then the kind of thing that takes us back 50 years. You know, we had a government at the federal level in 2016, and that's another story, because I talked to many people before then, and I said, you know, we're in the digital age. There's no way you can bring an Android to come and be our president. And people didn't listen. And we see what has happened. In 2016, the exchange rate was $1 to 158 naira. When that government left last year, the exchange rate was 1 to 900. Today it's 1 to 600. That was the government that did currency exchange for no reason. why was the currency exchange done? And it pauperized the majority of our people. So we need to love our people and work for our people. So you guys, please, talk to your guys back home. They need to make up their minds in a way that's for the benefit of the state. We need you people to please talk to them, encourage them. On the 21st of September, let them go to the polls and let them vote for Osarodion. Unfortunately, there are names that will be there. It will be our party symbol of the umbrella, PDP, you know, but please let people know it's important, it's critically important, because it's something that has the capability to change the dynamics of all our lives. What we promise is that we will give you our best service. We will make sure we change our state from where it is to where we want it to go. And we promise that we will make each and every one of you in this room proud to be Nigerians and proud to be able to we must show the world that we have the capability in Nigeria. We have the capability in Nigeria to build a first world environment. We build it for other people in their countries. So why can't we build it in ours? I thank you.
Amen. Please let me clap in this. Amen.
Thank you very much. Can I please invite my partner to join me on stage? We'll take questions. I can see a few people yawning. So we'll just take a few questions, we'll eat, we'll mingle, and we can go. But I thank you all very much.
Thank you, Coach TJ. Thank you, Dylan. Please round of applause as we invite to the stage
Sit down, please.
the next Deputy Governor as well, Barrister Osarodion Ogie, to join the next Governor on stage, Dr. Asue Ighodalo. Ladies and gentlemen, right now,
I can't talk while you can't hear me either. It is until I get home. Only she took around 16 hours or so. I'm in Mr. Ighodalo's town hall meeting in Houston, so I can't hear you, you can't hear me. I will do the stuff much later. If you can hear me, I cannot hear a word. So please just let's take it that way. Just send me a message. I can't get to my system for now.
Everybody, my name remains Victoria Amu, and I'm still standing tall here. We are the question and answer session. I hope you enjoyed what you heard. I hope you enjoyed it. And this is just the beginning. And we must all get our people in Nigeria to vote Dr. Asue and Barrister Ogie. So question and answer. We are going to use this modality to do it. We have more crowd here. So I hope we can take 6 questions from this side and take 4 from this side. So as we tend for it, we need some women to be participants in this. I've only seen men hands
Please.
up. I have not seen women. So where do we start?
Right here.
Here or here? Here.
Live streaming, please.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Yes. Okay. The question and answer is going to be brief. Hold on, sir. Hold on, man. Before I give you the mic, the incoming Deputy Governor, Barrister Osarodion, has to address us. We've heard Dr. Asue talking to us about prosperity. We need to hear Barrister Osarodion because he's a man of a lot of wealth of intelligence. He's been in the system forever, and he's just not been there as a symbol of not participating. He's been participating socially and human capacity. He knows the system, and he knows when the system needs to be right. And that's why he's enlisting Dr. Asue to make the system right. Barrister Ogie, please can you speak to us, sir?
First of all, let me thank every one of us for taking time to be here. think this should be our fifth or sixth talk. We just felt we should come around, talk to our people, present ourselves to our people so that they get to know us, so that they can interrogate us, ask questions, and find out from us what we want to do and how we want to do those things we tell or promise that we want to do. Like I said, since we started we try to stick to talking about the things we want to do, not talking about any other person. But like this evening before I came here, I met one of our sisters who brought her to the room. She took me up on some issues, and I was excited. I said, this is why we are here. She's from Ewu. So I'm here, I have to send money to my people, nothing's working in Nigeria. I said, my sister, that is why we presented ourselves to do this work. Look at us, are we competent? Do we have the capacity? Do we have the experience? Make your decision. I asked her, if we were going to employ a staff, would you ask that staff where it has worked before, what his or her record is? Our records are on the table. I sent an Asue, let other people come and present their records to you. Make up your mind, because there's work to come. And this work must only be given to those we know and believe are competent and they have the capacity to do the job. We've been in the system, like they said, for some time. Everybody knows my record. But the work is not finished yet. It's still work in progress. That's why I'm here. So I want to thank you. I've seen many of my old friends here, family members. I thank you for taking time here. But like my principal said, trust us, we will not disappoint you. People say, men when serving, where do we serve? We know how to take care of our people. We need security and welfare of the people. That is it. And that is what the Nigerian Constitution said, that the principal responsibility of every government of Nigeria is the security and welfare of its people. But what has happened? Instead of giving that job to people that have the ability, the capacity to do it, we give it to Agboros. And what do we expect? Tell us. We give it to those who call themselves lions and tigers. Because they have ability to come and snatch ballot boxes. Is that how we are going to grow? It's a choice we have to make. But like I said, the rest of the country can decide to go their way, but for those states we have made up our mind, we must fix our state. And the job has started. Like I said, when we came, we promised that every local government will have a primary health clinic. Power Joe is here. He will talk about that very soon. We will not finish here. Just on about 80, going to 85 now. But we need somebody or a set of people who understand that if you talk about the welfare of the people, you must know that their health, you must provide health facilities for you to be able to take care of their welfare. How do you expect, like you said, a pregnant woman to leave a room and go to Ekoma for delivery on a bad road? It's not going to be easy. For some people, if they get elected, for the first 2 years, they will not understand what primary health clinic means. They will not. We are talking about growing the economy of the state. We are talking about baking a bigger cake so that we're going to get the funding to fix our infrastructure. Today, we've planted 700,000 hectares of oil palm in 4 years. In 4 years, Edo State will not be the same. But you need somebody or a set of people who understand what it means to plant today and harvest tomorrow for the benefit of people.
Yes, sir.
Oh, when we started it, they were beating about saying, oh, you are taking land, farmland from communities. You are taking and giving to investors. We are still talking of the old habit of farming. We said it just now. Priceful, Oklahoma, the best company in Nigerian stock exchange today. Where are they based? Edo State. What are they doing? Oil palm. Who provided the enabling environment? God will not say. And who was the secretary of government of that government? Osarodion. So that means I know what it means. I know how to create the enabling environment for investors to come in and put money into our economy. I've done it before, I will do it again. He also mentioned 2 ethanol factories in one state. In the whole of Nigeria, I have 5 modular refineries, 2 in one state. All within the last 8 years. It took some people who understand that they needed to create the enabling environment to bring in investors so that the economy grew. Many of you have forgotten. Before now, to get a certificate of occupancy in Edo State, it used to take years, Abi? Yes. But today, within 90 days, you get a certificate of occupancy. But it is still in progress. If by the grace of God we get elected, we get to see your phone in 30 days. 30 days. What does it take to do that? You need somebody who understands that if this investor has title to this, you can use that title to get funding for business. But it's not everybody that knows that. Because you were not prepared for it, you know, were educated. I didn't mention anybody's name, but you know them. Ask them, what is IGR? They will ask you, what does it mean? Because they don't know. It's not their fault. They didn't train for it. They were not prepared for it. Because they could carry or steal buses, they were just thrown up and imposed on the people. Is that what we want in Edo State? No. Like I said, the rest of the country can decide to do whatever they want. But for Edo State, we have made up our mind to fix our state. It can be done. Like I told my sister, when they were struggling to pay 25,000, we started with 40. Is that not so? Yes. They were struggling to pay 30. We were paying 70. Are we in the same country? Yes. Who says Edo State can only pay 100,000 when the rest are struggling to pay 70? It can be done. Today we have Osiomo. So it's a big fight. They said, oh, the Constitution does not allow states or individuals to come and set up an electricity company. We said, no. So if you have BTC, you cannot provide my people with light. I must look for other people who want to invest in electricity. And that's how we encourage Osiomo. It started in Ologo. Today, most homes in Benin, people don't know, they are not young. Commercial centers, hotels, they are also 24 hours electricity. If Obaseki could do one Osiomo, one stop Asue and myself to do 2, to do 3, to do 4, to do 5. I also told my sister this evening, it took years for us here to get to where we are now. But whether it's democratic, whether it's Republican, they know what is good for their people. Is that not so? Obasanjo is giving us a 30 years master plan. Is it going to be governor for 30 years? In 3 months he will leave. But he has taken him 2 years to prepare a 30 years master plan. So any government that is coming to Edo State, there's something on the table. If you don't do it, the people will ask you. Is that not good? Yes. But some people don't like that. They don't like that. They don't like it. But we promise you, we have a roadmap. We know where we want to take our state to. We have prepared ourselves for it. We know what it will take to get there. And what we don't need from you is your support. Talk to your people. Educate them. 5,000 election day is not the solution. Distributing rappers for them to vote is not it. Let them ask everybody. Present yourself for interrogation. Tell us how you intend to fix this problem. And tell us what you have done before. Is it not so? You want to employ a driver, you ask him now, where did you drive before? Or you want to employ a cook, you ask, who did you cook for? Where did you work before? Some they cannot even come here and speak to you. They must not be muted. You must ask them to be on mute. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, the incoming Deputy Governor, the great barrister Osarodion. We have a lot to learn from you. Man, we sabi. Are you ready, sir, for the question? Okay. Please. We're going to start with audio, then we'll go to the other side. Okay.
Sir.
Moderator, I'm here. Let me.
Hello, my incoming governor and executive. You said this period is for questioning, but I want to start my own way different from questioning. Because I heard the incoming deputy governor saying that I have something to say. When I was told of this meeting, I was wondering what you want them to do in America, in Edo State. But this time around, anybody hearing what goes on in Nigeria will not be willing to go to Edo or Nigeria. Is it not so? But I haven't heard from you, and knowing fully well that the people that move, the men and women in Edo State now, are you people in foreign lands. Without you, I want to assure you that some family will collapse. And so you also have the power to tell them whom they should vote for. Yes. That is what I'm getting here. Is that not true? Yes. So, I want to assure you of one thing. I know everything. I'm here by accident. I'm not an American staff. I'm here on vacation. And, I know everything about Edo. And I've had the opportunity in my life to address all the governors that have ruled that state. And for the incoming deputy governor, I think is in position anytime, any day to help the incoming governor of what is required in Edo State. So tonight, I think what we require is how to win the election.
Thank you, sir.
I mentioned that because the incoming governor is having more than enough to do when he comes. But let's see where are the problems in winning the election. 3 major parties, as far as I know, are on ground. But in a place where people are conscious of the right of life, APC should not be given a card. At all. The competition will not be APC. For individual greed, a lot of PDP members moved to APC. And then for one or two reasons, when maybe there could be federal appointment. Because some people cannot survive 4 years without attaching themselves to a party. I'm not a party man at all. Why I didn't join the party is that they would drive me away because I will tell them when it is black, I will tell them when it is white. So for the incoming deputy and the governor, have you mapped out the whole state where you have some major challenges in winning the election? Okay. Have you mapped out? That's the question you answer. But if you want to answer it, I will tell you before you answer the question. There is no problem in Obama. I cannot divulge what I will tell you before you go. Some of my tips will get you over already because it's more complicated. You work hard in a local government because you have people there that are trying to make sure that you don't win the local government. Because there is hunger in the land. And because of the hunger in the land, the truth can no more be attained. You move from that place. If the incoming governor will do something, I know I didn't mention who they are, those are no more challenging. Because those who want to win the election must win in those South. Is that not true, sir? If you win in those South, you are already on the lead. More there will not be a major problem. But in those central, sir, I could hear one of the old governors, I don't want to mention name as you said, few days here saying that the incoming governor here cannot speak his language. And based on that, he should not be voted for. I don't know what is wrong with our people. Professor Ali was not speaking Isha. He established the American University. And this person talking, I'm addressing the incoming deputy Asue. He was there when I addressed him for over an hour on one-on-one, and he was so pleased. I told him his good side and his good side. So you will try, sir, to go and look at the Ishan, Go Central. I mean, population is not too bad, but if you allow it to be shared with other party, to not be too good. You are not to tell us. I think I'm in position to tell you now that you remain the best candidate for the state. I'm also aware that those who want to speak the truth, your opponents are not ready as much as you are ready. But you have some challenge within the system. I'll tell you that before I go. Then for the Edo North, the former deputy governor is doing some scratch there. But we have to do some job because that area was originally PDP area. But the governor used it to enter the former governor used it now to enter Senate. But this is a country where people will retire as a government worker, they will retire as a governor, they will retire as a senator, they will come back to chairman of the council. Until we put it right, you don't need to be any 100 places while you are still alive. If the Senate now that they have so much to carry home every month below, why are you going to collect your pension in the state? I think some states have cancelled that pension of 8 years. 8 years they collect so much every something. So, in terms of mapping out winning this election to be your work, you're coming here today, I'm telling you that the whole audience here, for a long time, I've never seen such a rapt attention where people listen to almost an hour you were talking. I want to congratulate America. You will agree with me that it's not easy for somebody to be talking and there was no noise throughout, which means they love you, sir. They love you. I listen to Trump and the other okay, because of time, let me tell the whole house that the incoming governor will win the election.
Thank you. I'm Professor Ighodalo, resident here in Houston. I'm grateful for coming here. Thanks to Senator Asue who invited me just a few days ago. I just wanted to, I have two concerns. One has to do with electricity. I heard that there's a state in Nigeria now, I think it's Abia State, that have 24/7 electricity. What are the possibilities that we will get that in the state? I noticed it. When I was growing up, we used to have pipe-borne water in almost every street in Benin City. What are the possibilities that we will bring pipe-borne water to our state? Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Can I ask the audience to please restrict questions to one per person? Not two questions per person, three per person, one. Just interwove it in and make it one. 1 minute. Can I go this way? Okay. The woman.
So, can you answer this? Mr. Remo.
My name is Asue. Recently, the Nigerian federal government signed the local government autonomy into law. There is a correlation between local government elections and local government autonomy. Over the years, what we've seen in Edo State is the culture of any government in power, winning all the 18 local government elections, winning all the 192 councillorship elections. If you win as a Edo State governor, by Asue, do you commit to a free and fair, transparent local government election in Edo State, where all political parties will be freely involved, and if they win in a ward, in a local government, and you let their result count?
Thank you very much.
And in addition, thank you.
Can you give the mic to the lady behind you?
Hello, good evening, everybody. My name is Ruth Osarodion. My question is just one simple question. I'm concerned
What's your
about
name, please?
Ruth Osarodion. I'm concerned about the girls on the streets because I'm actually an advocate for young girls and women, especially girls in STEM. I'm an engineer currently practicing robotics engineering here in the US. So I want to know your plans for young girls, especially girls in STEM. How do you bring your girls out of the street? Because we're tired of the norm of, oh, we're opening a hairdressing school for girls, tailoring school for girls. What's wrong with training girls in mechanical engineering, training girls to wire buildings, training girls to do the main gender kind of job? Because in the world, engineering, women in engineering, we're not even up to 20%. It's still a main gender job. As in, like what I always preach as an advocate for girls in STEM, I always tell them engineering is not always blue, engineering can be pink. So what's your plans for the girls on the street? Because we have so many girls on the street in Edo State.
Thank you so much.
That's what I want to know. Thank you.
One more response. One there. Left. Focus here. That's one.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stella Aibefo. I'm from Edo Central. Actually, before I came here, I was opportunity to meet with the incoming deputy, which have answered most of my questions. I really don't have much questions right now, but I just want to make an appeal, sir. My appeal is that I was amazed to hear about the Osarodion power plant. I've never heard about it. I want to really say my concern is on the power, electricity. Recently, I wanted to empower a lady from my village, but my heart ached when I remember if I buy this lady cold room or freezer, how will I power it? Then I would draw my help. I couldn't do anything. So my appeal goes to Edo is a very big state. Is it possible for the Osarodion power plant if it can be extended to Edo Central side? Thank you, sir.
Thank you so much. But the incoming deputy governor mentioned it, that the regime that is about to end brought about Osarodion plant. So when our principal, Dr. Asue and Barrister Osarodion comes in, they are going to bring two more. Like
2 more, 3 more, 4 more.
Right. 2 more, so that other senatorial areas will benefit from that. But I think they will answer the question.
Thank you very much, Stella. Let's try and answer these questions quickly. I'll answer some, Osarodion will answer some, or he'll improve on whatever answers I give. Electricity is fundamental. But let me say something. People keep talking about Abia. And it's good, because like I said, we're hoping to pull Nigeria out by the pressure of state, peer pressure. But I think it's Abia that should learn from those states. I think so. During the Abia thing, I was involved in the power plant in Abia's Pathnages project. I've been involved as a lawyer in that project, advising. That project started 22 years ago. And it's good that it has happened in Alektoti's time. It's good it has happened in this time. But the Osarodion and Azura are 3-4-year-old projects. They're not 20-year-old projects. And I'm saying that we will have 1 or 2 more Osarodions. The problem in those states, which was also the problem in Abia, but because they've been doing this thing for 20 years, they are solving it bit by bit, is the transmission system. Our transmission system in Nigeria is 71 years old. To rebuild the transmission and distribution system in those states is going to cost us a lot of money. So probably what we need to do is have mini grids closer to the people so that we don't spend a lot of money on transmission and distribution. Okay, so Madam almost said so because Osarodion answered that question, but that's the focus. Because, you know, if we don't enhance electricity delivery, after security, that's the next most important thing for economic development. It reduces cost, enhances the economy, enhances development, enhances nightlife. So we will focus on electricity. We'll look at it and we'll move power plants closer to the people so that the transmission cost and distribution cost will be reduced. The other side of that really is that we also, when I was talking about value system, you know that in the last 3 weeks, I think between Osarodion and myself, we must have found money for 15 or so transformers in different parts of the state. What happens with transformers? People steal old transformers or vandalize them. People see those people stealing and vandalizing transformers, nobody is shouting or reporting. No, they vandalize the transformer in your area, you don't have lights, you come and shout to government that you don't have lights. When you saw the person vandalizing the transformer, so there needs to be a bit more social responsibility. For instance, the dam, the waterworks, the Ogie had been rebuilt. Those rebuilt, I think, in the early days of the Asue government. And then we woke up one day and there was no water again. Why? Some people had vandalized the mechanism for the water and it's stolen all the mechanics of the thing. You can't just carry it away. You must have brought a trailer there. Somebody saw you doing it and nobody shouted. So again, you know, many, you know, my family and I live, and I'm not exaggerating, whole line at least 7 times the only me a water that we've paid for. Even this last Christmas, each time between 8 and 12 million naira. But what happens each time? People come and vandalize those lines. So we really honestly need to have that because everybody thinks government property is nobody's property. And so people need to get serious along those lines. But we will as a government do our work. Pipe on water, in Edo North, the population has outstripped the water supply. So there's the Jirami, there's Auchi, there's Jatu. We need to work those water plants and water schemes. And in Edo North, we probably need about 35 million naira to be able to resuscitate the water schemes. But we have to find the money. You know, our people cannot keep going to fetch water or us, you know, people sinking more holes. It's not good enough. So government needs to find the money. So we have to find the 35 to 40 million naira somewhere. In Edo Central, we have the Uboha is working well, but the Ogie is not working well. Oko is not working well. That's the Omai, Mirua area, the Rekon area, and the Ogie area. And that requires by itself about 21 million. When you have 35 to 21 million, maybe another 6 billion for part of the south, we're looking at another 16 billion that will require for just water. So that's why I talk about finding capital for infrastructure. It's going to be really tough, but we have to find it because our determination is to move ourselves into the first world. And then the other thing also is to give contractors that are fit for purpose these contracts to do. Part of what I've seen in audits, public sector audit is that for different reasons, people that don't have the capabilities and quality do work, and then we don't get equality. And so we have to find a way to change that. It's difficult because that means that we must find those state people that have the capabilities and quality. Because those state people we shout if you call somebody else. It's only if we then don't find those people that they give us permission to step out. So we need to balance these things out. That's why you guys in the diaspora please come back home and help enhance our resources and capacity and teach us. You were talking about local government and you asked me a direct question. Will we run a free and fair local government election, Austin, right? That's the bottom summary of what you said. You know, that suggests that you don't think to date state governments have run free and fair local government elections. Okay? I'm new in the game, but I can assure you and promise you that we'll run free and fair local government elections. We don't have anything to fear. We'll be as transparent as possible. And I sincerely sincerely believe that if we want a good government, we care for our people, we love our people, we provide infrastructure, we have nothing to fear. You know, if I go back into history, we had Denis Osarodion in the Western region, and his people loved him because he worked for his people. We had a Bafemi Awolowo in the Western region, and in those days, Western region was from Yaba to Asaba. To today, anybody that wants to run politics in Southwest Nigeria still calls Awolowo's name. You know, what did it take? You know, they loved their people. We have to go back to leadership and democracy. When people come and they are saying that they bow to their masters first and do this and do that, they don't show traces of wanting to love their people or loving their people. No leader in the world excels or succeeds if you don't love your people. Go and read the history of successful nations. It doesn't work. So we will do that. And part of that process is we'll run free, transparent elections. If you've done well, you will win most of the elections anyway. So you should be confident about that. Maybe if you haven't done well, that you want to do things to suggest manipulating elections. If you've done well, why should you be afraid? You should submit yourself to your people. If they think you've done well, they'll return you. And if they don't return you, that means they don't think you've done well. That's why part of the work we will do as a government. There will be times when Osarodion and myself will get up from Benin. We will go and sit down in one local government, I'll sit down in another. We'll bring government closer to the people. We'll be accepting that people. And that way also, there will be direct development for those places, because people that want to see deputy governor or governor will come there, they'll make sure our hotels are good, our roads are good, we have mass telecommunications and things. So, we don't, my feeling in all of this is you really need creative thinking. You need to think differently and think outside the box. You don't run away from the box. That's what you need to do. You need to find the capital that requires creative and hard thinking. You need to find the implementation process and those who have the capacity which requires creative and hard thinking. But we promise you that we'll make you proud. And we are not afraid. We won't be afraid of elections. The only election that we're afraid of is this first one. Because we haven't, until we, well, by the time we come in and do the work, we'll get rid of elections because we know people will tell us to carry go. But it's the first one because there are too many dynamics at play. But as Paul Ogie said, we must focus on doing the things that will bring us to elections. So we campaign much harder than the next person. We work much harder. We'll do the things we need to do. We encourage our guys to come out to vote, and that's part of why we're talking to you guys. Everybody must come out to vote and follow the box. You know, the votes will be counted, you follow. Collation center, you follow. Where they can play games, you follow. They say we have the beavers. We must make sure the beavers works. You know, the beavers must work so that nobody plays games on technology. We must pay attention. Our polling agents must be paying attention so that we are the That's why I said the most important thing we must do is win the election. So that God will give us the opportunity to provide what we want to provide for the people of the state. If we don't win the election, then we ourselves we're causing grievous bodily harm to the people of Edo State. That means that Edo State is going to go back 50 years, 60 years, maybe 100 years. And it is our responsibility to make sure that doesn't happen. So, sir, all the things we think we need to do, we'll talk to you, we'll take advice, but we must do everything possible within the law to make the election, and we will do so, sir. We're working without sleeping. Thank you, sir. We talked about girls, and you know, this Baseki government has done tremendously well. You know, before, when we talked about girls and Edo, you know, there was only one word. Everybody thought all our girls were to Italy or somewhere going to do funny work, you know. But that has changed. It has changed. When you look at where you have immigrants, you know, going abroad for the wrong reasons and illegally, whilst Edo State used to talk the chat before, Edo State has gone to really much more the chat, and that's in 8 years. And it's really remarkable, you know, truly remarkable. So I agree with you. I sat on the board of an NGO that was focused on STEM for girls, you know. And so for me, the commitment for training our girls, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics is fundamental, and it makes a difference. One of the things I discovered, particularly chairing the boards of companies, is that if you don't have an equal proportion of women as men, you have an imbalance. It's like having only one hand. Because what women bring on board balances the ego of men and the brashness of men most times. So we must focus on STEM education for our girls. Our girls must focus on the sciences and technology. We see a lot of them in technology, this IT thing. And we see them in the creatives, and so we must encourage them. And something, our girls aren't on the streets again. What were you doing last time? They're not on the streets again. The people I see on the streets are in incantation and so on. We don't have girls on the streets again. It's reduced considerably. And we're going to even reduce it. We're going to make sure we want to take it off, and encourage them. And what we need to do is just support them and support their parents to keep them in school. Nigeria still have this thing, if you don't have money, you have to keep the boy in school as well. I think we should change that thinking. We should change that thinking, So thank you very much, Ruth, and I'll bring you back, if you're a robotics expert. All we need to do is that we don't need to do much. Just put you in Victor Wifo and tell the girls that see Ruth, she's a robotics expert. I know what that means. And the girls will then want to take you as a role model. So that's why I need you guys coming home on holiday and giving us 5 days out of your holiday for us to exhibit your capabilities. Can you imagine walking into Ambrose Ali University or into Edo State University and taking a course for 2 days? All the girls in that place will just go out, lose your hair and all that. Everybody thinks that you're doing a beauty contest. They don't know you're a robotic engineer. So all the girls will feel they just feel wow. And you give them reason to feel ambitious. So that's why I want you guys to come back home, Madam Stella, thank you for your advice. We've already taken, you have access to my boss, so we've already taken first time all the answers. But thank you for your advice. And we need advice from you guys. We need counsel. You guys need to talk to us, And that's part of why we're going to make ourselves accessible. We'll have town hall meetings at least once a quarter. We listen, what are we doing right? What are we not doing so right? What can we do differently? In writing our manifesto, it was our collective experience going around the state that made us determine the manifesto that will best fit the state. The manifesto that will best take us out of where we are to where we want to get as quickly as possible. So we'll continue the interactions. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Let's go back to this side.
Can you answer my question?
Hello. Yeah, my name is Abdul. I'm the president of the ACA, Association. Abdul president of African Association here in Houston. So we represent the whole of Edo North Senatorial District. I would like to speak about the insecurity situation in Edo North.
In the north?
Edo North.
Edo North, yeah.
African land.
Yeah.
Our people cannot go to the farm anymore. Our people cannot go to the market anymore. Just for one reason, insecurity. So how you will address this insecurity situation vis-a-vis Edo State as a whole? Reason being that the vigilante is there, since we do not have state police, and they created this Edo State vigilante group. And these guys, they trade and they promise that they're going to be paid. For more than 1 year now, they have not received the time. So how are we going to improve on the payment of the vigilante and the security situation in Edo North? Thank you. So we must have any woman from this side. Give it to me. Please, can any woman from this side? Go ahead.
All right, my name is Akiri Collins Akibe. I'm from Eastern Central. Akiri Collins Akibe from Eastern Central.
What can give it to me?
Okay, I got it. I have worked and lived most part of my life in River State. And I just want to bring something to your attention, comparing it to Edo State. In River State, a lot of us, when we started, were given the opportunity to have a hands-on, one-on-one into construction, where we were able to bring down the cost of structural development in the state using direct labor. I can tell you for free that with less than 20 million naira as of today, concrete pavements can be done in over 3 kilometer roads in River State, which I have done, not they will do, I have done. But when you come and hear the kind of staggering figures, they tell you they want to do 1 kilometer road. That wastage, how is your government going to change that? So that we can have a more improved structural development that is tangible. Because every time I go back home and I see Benin doesn't change. It doesn't just change. And I'm wondering why. So what is your government going to do differently to bring about a real, tangible development that we can see and feel? Thank you so much.
Good evening. My name is Emmanuel Erorai. I know you talked about wanting us to come to Nigeria to invest. So my question to you, sir, is do you plan to have a mechanism in place to help break that difficult protocol one has to go through to help bring foreign investment to the States? That's my question. I said, do you plan to have a mechanism in place? Yeah, to help break that difficult protocol.
Thank you very much, Ikas, our president for AFMI Worldwide. Yeah, insecurity in the north is not specifically different from insecurity in Edo State, you know, or central. I don't think insecurity central is a bit worse, you know, and then insecurity in the south. That's why we said we deal holistically with insecurity in Edo. I suspect, no, start from there. I suspect that your feeling of that insecurity in the north is because of closeness to Kogi and the problems that come out of Kogi that seep into Edo North. Because we've looked at it and assessed it. And like I said, we have to employ technology, men, women, and resources and equipment to safeguard Edo State. The entry from Kogi is one of the entry points that we have to put and build in security outposts. And the border is porous. We realize the border is porous and it's savanna, it's not really rainforest. But we have to work with drones, technology and equipment, and with men that are well trained. But we will use technology to safeguard those things. We're not going to be, it's not just, nobody's using bow and arrow again. And we promise that we'll achieve that technology. When you catch people, most of the people they catch on this crime, they're not punished. You catch people, whether they're herdsmen, whether they're farmers, whether they're locals. And you know, people are blaming herdsmen. Those herdsmen cannot come in to commit crime if locals do not support them. So locals work with non-locals to commit the crime. You know, if we had one of our friends, the party chairman that was kidnapped some time ago, the you know, but he was released quickly. And that's the first kidnapping in the States in a long time. So we all thought it was targeted kidnapping. But if he tells you about his experience that night, you will know that this arrangement is both local and external. So we have to deal with our local supporters. The externals can't come in if the local supporters don't support them. But we will deal with security in the state. If we don't deal with security in the state, nothing is going to happen. That's fundamental. And it's going to be enough. We know the problems, and there's slightly different peculiarities. They do north, they do south. They do south is a lot more the water, the river rise, the Via area, and all of that. And who's sitting in from those states. And those central, a bit different. That's a delta problem. So we've kind of audited the security problem, and we kind of have a response to dealing with it. But it must be technology-based, and we will do so. I hear, I think you were talking about, let me wear my glasses. You're talking about construction companies. But that's, we're going to pick the best to provide the services at the most efficient value for money. So if you promise me, sir, that you can build a road, first-class road, for less than what is being built today, why won't we work with you? There's no reason why we won't. We have to deal with our roads, build value for money, reduce and eliminate flooding, and make sure that when we build our roads, there's a road that is still passed today. I used to pass that road as a young boy to go to school. That's the road that was built between Ighodalo and Ighodalo. Occasionally, I still pass that road. You know, that road is nearly 70 years old, and it requires minimal management. Minimal. That was built by the Western regional government. So why can't we still build roads like that? We should be able to. So if you promise me that kind of value, why would I do with you? Why would I go anywhere else? The important thing is that people don't deliver what they promise, and they make things very difficult. So we look for the best to provide the best services. You know? Okay? Emmanuel. Okay, you said we want to encourage investment into the state. I'm going to help you. What's the mechanics? Yes, we have an investment promotion office. So we'll enhance that investment promotion office. And we will probably make it directly under the office of the governor or deputy governor. So that we're on top of. We must know that our investment process works and works well. If you come, you know, people complain that you want to come, want to see the. If you are coming to invest in Edo State, you will see the governor. At first, you will see the governor and the deputy governor, the deputy governor, the governor. Because we will put priority to your coming to invest. So we'll sit down, we'll talk to you, and if we see you're truly serious, we'll work with you and support you every part of the way. Because it is important to us that you bring your money to the state. That's how we develop the state. Okay, so we'll put in that process and we'll make sure that our investment promotion office is even more efficient. Thank you.
Thank you.
People are getting tired though. So let's just take one more set. So we'll take one more set so that we can let people go home. Yeah? Okay. So we'll just take 4 more questions, right? 2 on both sides, and then we can no problem.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Engineer Olubofemi Idiako. I'm the president of ECSDI. I'm in AI space. I'm an AI artificial intelligence research engineer. How I see you talking about technology. How do you intend to bridge the technology we are right now? Because the technology we are right now is more on the AI side. What are your plans for the younger ones? How do you intend to train them so that they can face the first century?
Good evening, sirs. My Excellency, I'm going to ask a question about oral land. What plans do you have for us?
What's your name? Your name?
My name is Rita Umokwe. When it has to do with the health issues, our general hospital only have a doctor that comes in there on Monday afternoon and leaves on Thursday. So when you go there on Friday, there's nobody to help there. The hospital has deteriorated so much. Is that part of your building up?
Thank you.
My question is very easy. My name is Asue. So my question to you, Dr. Ighodalo, how are you? And Barrister, how are you? Yes.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Coming to our questions. Your name, please. Your name is Dr. I appreciate the lecture and the fact that you've come to tell us your plans in our state. Going through your lectures, it was obvious that you had so much to say about this outgoing government and you've been part of it. So it's just an appeal that when you are elected, hope you're not going to tell us you need time to settle. Because it's expected that by now you should already have capable hands. You've identified people who will work with you. So it's expected that when you assume office, you hit the ground running. Thank you so much. The follow-up question to that is on food. Very important. Thank you very much. Now the last one of this section, please. This way. This way. The last one here.
Good evening. My name is Christian Omokore, with over 40 years engineering experience. Nigeria manager, Oando, Nigeria manager, Motori, I think we have a problem with Common West. And that is why I am following, I'm fully in support of you. Because the way it is now is like, you don't come from a particular area. Development doesn't make that thing. In the last, maybe since 1999, when we had several developments and gone to Common West. No higher education, no proper banking. Yeah, okay. And two, another thing is, there is no, we have an existing artisan well. I'm going to describe what an artisan well is. It's a well, it's a river, it's a water, it's a well that does not require rectification. That's my point. It's been there and it's been capped there since 1960. What plans do you have? Because I'm sure it's the same thing that's affecting your own local government. That's also affecting our rest. What plans do you have? Because I've looked at your manifesto. There is nothing concrete for our rest.
Thank you so much. All right. Can you please answer the questions?
Okay, thank you very much. Engineer, thank you. The innovative tech-up question. We already have an innovative tech-up, and okay, really there is nothing. So maybe we should sit down with the engineer and explain to him. We have, where is he? He's the ICT commissioner. You know, we are strong on innovation and tech in Edo State. So we have this innovative tech of training, and what we'll do is develop and provide a lot more training centers over the state. I don't think there's any state in Nigeria that has focused as much on innovation and technology as Edo State. And we'll continue training our guys and girls. We'll continue working on them and providing the facilities and the resources to ensure that they're well trained. Like I said when I was speaking, we should be able to sit down in Benin or Ogie or Samogida and be providing services to the world, any part of the world, and we will continue doing that. Rita Mokwede, oral land. I'm going to combine your question. I don't know whether your husband or brother's question. Husband, yeah. Okay. You know, you Mokwede, you know I'm related to you people. Okay. And they're the first set of top civil servants that came out of Edo State. Oral land, plans for Owa West development. I agree with you. Oral land, Owa West, the problems we have are similar to the problems in nearly all of the local governments. If you listen to the guys in Akoko Edo, they will tell you their story was that they're the most marginalized part of the Edo State. If you go to the people in the Southeast, they tell you the same thing. Go to my own people in the East and Southeast, they tell you the same thing. So if you go to Rio, okay, Barrister, now he's talking about Rio. He was speaking as if Baha is you know, so the level of being disadvantaged spreads across the state. Everybody is complaining. Our work is to equitably raise the profile of every part of the state. Every part of the state. Whether it's, I know all people feel disenfranchised in a way. They feel that because of their superior civil service, but yes, just 2 weeks ago, the governor went to lay the foundations to the Akoko of the mineral science polytechnic, and we know that tertiary institutions attract development, but not just tertiary institutions. Businesses attract development, and so we will provide an environment where we attract development to every part of the industry, all of the 18 local governments, and we'll take it down to the wards. What we can start with the 18 local governments, and then with more resources, we'll trickle down to the wards. But yes, Owa West, your current speaker is Owa West now, and every day he's fighting for Owa West. Every day he's fighting, and he's a speaker. So we will focus on Owa West, like we'll focus on other parts of the state. Adeswa, you asked the question, how are you? I can answer for myself. I will let Osarodion answer for himself. How are you? Tired. I'm physically tired. But I wake up with adrenaline every day because I know we have a goal. I know we have something we must do. We have something we must achieve. So when I wake up in the morning, I stop being tired. I continue adrenaline, and I get on my feet, and we start talking. Osarodion and I will first have our first conversation of the day. We'll talk about what to do, what not to do, where we're going, who to see, who not to see, and the strategy for the day. And then we'll take it off from there. And then we'll probably run from about 5:30 a.m. till about 2 a.m. And then we start again the next day. There's still so much to be done. Once we land in Nigeria, Sunday, Monday now, we hit the road again. And we start campaigning from ward to ward, convincing people. We even campaign now from house to house, unit to unit. But I can't afford to be tired. I know I'm physically tired, but I can't allow myself to be tired because there's still so much work to be done. And we're going to do this work straight out on the 21st of September. And so help us God. Thank you. Oh, okay. Hitting the ground running. Whose question was that? That's why Osarodion is right beside me and my partner. We have no business not to hit the ground running. None whatsoever. And anyway, we've gone through the state, we've talked to people, we know the people, so we already have at the back of our minds who can do what the best. So So we promise you that we will, on the 12th of November, 12:01 p.m. in the ground running. Thank you.
I want to thank you, Your Excellency.
How are you?
Madam Adesu, I'm fine.
We want to thank you, Your Excellencies, for taking your time to answer all these questions. There are more questions to be answered. I have a whole batch of people here to write out their questions and send them to you, so that we'll open up a forum before you leave the United States. We open up a forum that you can be able to answer those questions, and everybody will be able to hear what you have on that. On behalf of everybody, I want to say thank you. This is the end of the voting session. This is the end of the comment section. In conclusion, I want to remind you and you that the Asue, Ighodalo and Barrister Ogie movement is a movement. This is our chance as Edo citizens to rewrite history. Let us seize it with both hands. Let us work tirelessly, because I'm also heading back to Nigeria and we are going to comb our West dry. There will be no APC in our West. So I'm working tirelessly for the weeks and the days ahead to ensure that Asue, Ighodalo and Barrister Osarodion is elected as the next governor. For a change, let us have people who have vision and mission to rule Edo. So we are not talking much. And let us do so with the conviction that we are building a better, stronger and more prosperous Edo state for ourselves and for the future generation. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Open us together for the next governor of the state and the next deputy governor of the state as they march to their seats. Thank you for taking your time out to do this. Bring it out, please. Bring it out, thank you. Right about now, we're not doing anything, we're just going straight to the vote of thanks and the closing remarks. To help us to join us, I'd like to call the microphone. Mr. Joe Amadasun, to help us with the closing remarks and the vote of thanks. Mr. Joe Amadasun. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone. I just want to thank our sister here, the Women Affairs Coordinator this year, also closing remarks. She's not here. Knowing that we have. So thank everyone for your contributions, all those that showed up, and for you to make cause more and tell your people to come out and vote. We have to vote. We will not get them out. We will not win the election. But we have to get everyone to come out and vote. And by God's grace, less than 6 weeks, we will be celebrating victory. Thank you all, and God bless you.